Gautam Gambhir is arguably under pressure as the head coach of the Indian cricket team to deliver the much needed results. While he may say it otherwise, but at the end of the day, irrespective of the profession that you are in, if the results don't really come, then one is really bound to feel that pressure. Now let's just talk about how Gautam Gambhir's reign has been there as the head coach of the Indian cricket team. Well, under him, India have lost an ODI series to Sri Lanka in Sri Lanka 2-0, and now in the most recently concluded test series against New Zealand, well, they were blanked 3-0, and it turned out to be India's first home series loss in a span of 12 years. Now at the very same time, he has drawn a lot of criticism from the fans and the experts about the results that haven't really come. And Tim Paine, now the former Australia captain, he has also said some things about Gautam Gambhir, that how his attitude or his temperament could go on to impact India's chances in the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Let's just have a look. Well, Tim Paine on Gautam Gambhir's reply to Ricky Ponting. Before we get to his first quote, let me just give you a brief context here. So a few days ago, Ricky Ponting had said some things about Virat Kohli, wherein he claimed that someone like a Virat Kohli who has just a couple of test hundreds to his name in the last 5 years or so is a big sign of concern, and someone who has such kind of a record in game's longest format might not survive in any team across the globe. And when Gautam Gambhir was asked about the same thing, he said that who is Ricky Ponting to talk about Indian cricket? He should really be talking about Australian cricket. And that's where Tim Paine has said that I don't love it. By this, he means that he doesn't really appreciate Gautam Gambhir's comments. It is not a good sign, I think, because all he was asked was a very simple question. Virat Kohli has been sliding. It is a concern, absolutely. And that's where I think Tim Paine completely makes sense, because when Ricky Ponting was asked about the same thing, he didn't really take a dig at Virat Kohli. He was just pinpointing the stats. And at the very same time, when Gautam Gambhir was also asked about the same thing, so rather than maybe, taking a dig at Ponting, or rather than being a prickly character, as was also pointed by Ricky Ponting, it's not that big of a problem to accept the current situation and at the very same time move on and make the necessary improvements. And that's where it's pretty much sure that Gautam Gambhir must have really had those hard and tough conversations with a certain Virat Kohli. Well, Tim Paine, he also had a few more things to say about Gambhir. He said that India have gone to a coach now who is really prickly, who can really easily get offended, competitive, and that's not to say that's not a good thing, but my concern is that it's not a great fit. And that's where he feels that India's chances of lifting the Border Gavaskar Trophy for the third time in a row in the Australian conditions might just take a hit, primarily because of the fact that Gautam Gambhir's attitude and temperament is such that it might not benefit the Indian cricket team. Tim Paine feels that Gautam Gambhir is known to react very early, and that might just put a lot of additional pressure on the players, and that's where India's chances would greatly take a hit. Well, Tim Paine, he also spoke about India's biggest worry. He said that it's neither Virat Kohli's form, who didn't really fire in the Bangladesh and also in the New Zealand series. So is the case with Rohit also, who has obviously is India captain and has failed to step up with the bat while opening the innings. It is their coach Gautam Gambhir and his inability to stay calm under pressure. And that's where a few questions were also raised about Gambhir's coaching and maybe even India's tactics also in the recently concluded series against New Zealand, that sometimes there were some decisions made by the batters, or maybe as a team, as a collective, as a whole, wherein India did not really flourish, and there were some decisions that were taken that could have been done more nicely or maybe more suitably. This is where I think Tim Paine makes a lot of sense. Now, in case of Gautam Gambhir, he's obviously known to be someone who is going to give it back, as to whatever comments he is being fired at. And he was always like this as a character when he was in his playing days, and now he's displaying the same attitude as a coach also. And now come the Border Gavaskar Trophy, the opening test in Perth, which begins on November 22nd. There's going to be a chat, there's going to be a lot of fireworks also, both on and off the field, and that's where there's going to be a lot of chit chatter, not just in the commentary but also from both the dressing rooms. And as far as Gambhir is concerned, he is going to be under pressure, because if India do not win the Border Gavaskar Trophy, the questions or the calls of removing Gautam Gambhir as the head coach of the test team might just grow. What do you think would be the final result of the Border Gavaskar Trophy, and what do you think about Tim Paine's comments on the Indian cricket team's head coach? You can let us know your thoughts in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to Sports Today for all the exciting updates and analysis from the sporting world. Until then, on behalf of my producer Pawan, it's Siddharth Gulati saying goodbye and good night.